One God, and same as yourselves, the same God, but we believe we believe Prophet Muhammad is the last messenger.
Right, okay.
And then the second pillar is the prayer. So we pray.
The Holy Ghost came into picture, Holy Spirit, yeah? So this Trinity actually
is because, you know, that sound.
Hi, everything good?
Yes.
Yeah. How are you finding the exhibition so far?
It's very interesting.
Okay,
yes,
okay.
yes.
Have
I have
you-
a copy of the Quran,
Yeah.
as we ought to,
And what's drawing you to this
and it'll be identical.
identical?
Yeah.
And it's been like.
So I found out about the event from my boss at Cumbria Youth Alliance. I work with a young Syrian who speaks Arabic, so
Okay.
I was quite interested to come and discover a little bit more about Islam because it's very important to him. I was extremely welcomed as I've arrived at the event. My child has been made very welcome. I've spoken to some extremely interesting people because there's a lot of negativity about Islam in the press often, and it's very much shows in this exhibition that it's all about peace, which is very nice to hear. I have learned to write my name, and the gentleman who wrote my name for me has. I found it very interesting. He said that it is the Quran was it discovered or brought into regular use something like 1400 years ago.
Yeah, it was revealed.
And he was,
1400
that was it.
Yeah.
And he was telling me about the accent of the Arabic that was used is still used in Mecca, and he was saying that it doesn't contradict science. So he was explaining he's a dentist and he, in theory, could use the science from the Quran. Is still relevant now, which I found fascinating. I would quite like to go and discover more about that.
Yeah.
The other thing that I found extremely interesting is I work with a lot of young people with mental health problems.
Okay.
And the gentleman who was writing my name for me was explaining that I thought it was lovely that this 17, he was 17 when I started working with him, he's now 18, and Islam is just part of his life, which in the UK it's almost embarrassing to have a religion. For a lot of the young people I work with, they don't have a religion, they avoid religion, whereas for this young man it's so important in his life. And I think that's lovely. And the gentleman I was talking to said, it's just a way of life. It's part of growing up. One of the things that you have there to help you become more resilient, which is, a really important thing. And
True.
I don't mean that necessarily Islam is missing from everybody's lives, but there is something missing. So it's very nice that he was saying that in your Islamic community, suicide and mental health problems aren't as large a problem as they are in general as they are.
Yeah, this is
press.
So no, I agree with that. I would echo the same sentiments. Yeah. It's because obviously
so it's doing something right, isn't it?
yeah. Anyway, I think we don't want to take too much more of your time, and I'll just finish off by giving you a copy of the Quran.
Thank you very much.
This is an English translation.
Yep.
Hopefully you can read it.
I hope
when
so
you
too.
read it, just bear in mind it's religious text.
Yep.
So it's not like a storybook, a novel.
Yep.
So when you read it with that thought in mind,
Yeah.
and read it in that mode as well.
Yes.
That it's a religious text.
And thank you for putting on an exhibition like this in this area. I think
no problem. Thank you.
Often you're given a bad name in the press, this religion, and it's unfair.
No, but that's the main purpose of these type of exhibitions, to explain to everyone, inform the true teachings and the peaceful teachings, what Islam really is.
No,
and it was a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you.
Take care. Okay.
Right.
Thank you. Bye.
No problem.
What did you think of the events today in Whitehaven? Basically, that's the question.
Okay then, right, absolutely fabulous that you've came into the community and told us a bit about your lifestyle and your religion. It's very generous to give all the reading materials and to even offer refreshments. I think it's it's great. Hopefully I'll learn a bit from the things I read. Very happy to have taken 10 minutes out of my day and came and spoke to everyone. Everyone's been really helpful and friendly.
Have you attended an event of this like before?
Never.
Okay,
Never.
interesting.
Never.
So would you say it would be a good thing to maybe try and do these kinds of events throughout the weekend, just
Yeah, yeah,
dispel
definitely.
misconceptions that people have really?
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر السلام عليكم ورحمة الله السلام عليكم ورحمة الله
I found it really interesting. It was really welcoming as well. As soon as I came in, there was somebody there to welcome me in and to talk to me. But yeah, it's really interesting. There's an awful lot of information here, and I've not got round all of it yet. But I've spent quite a lot of time just talking to people and asking questions. So it's definitely a positive thing. I've ended up knowing much more than when I came in.
Thank you. And if you were to have any highlights or one thing that you could highlight from the event that kind of stood out for you, what would that be?
I think it would just be talking to people. Some of the conversations have been very much about information and just things I didn't know, like how does your calendar work and when did the Prophet die and things like that. But there have also been a couple of more challenging ones about how Islam treats certain aspects of life and different people, where my views have perhaps differed, but we've had a really good conversation about it, and that person understood more about where I'm coming from, and I understand more about their position on it as well. So it's good to have some challenging conversations as well as just finding out more information.
And would you like to have such events regularly in this area or other areas? Do you think it's something that's beneficial for communities?
I think any kind of event like this where you just open up an aspect of community, of a community to other people and say, come in and find out more, because the Muslim community around here is quite small and quite dissipated across Cumbria, then we don't get together very often or very much. Our paths don't cross that much, so it can only be a good thing, I think, if we can just get together.
Okay, thank you very much, Leila, for your time, and it was an honor having you once again. Hope we can meet again in other future events like this. Thank you very much. Okay, take care.
Thank you very much.
So my name is Mohammed. I'm a board member, company secretary of Awas Cumbria. Okay. So we work across Cumbria to improve community relations and support black and minority ethnic communities, and also the minority faiths like Muslim communities across the area, in terms of their access to services, resources, and integration and cohesion across the county. And I'm also, in a personal capacity, a member of SACRE as well for Cumbria. So I sit on the SACRE as a Muslim representative. So again, to make sure that Muslim views are represented within the SACRE world, in the education world, across the county.
Okay, that's super. For the benefit of some of maybe the viewers that may see this on YouTube when I upload it, inshallah, soon, would you be able to just give us a little idea of what SACRE actually stands for?
So SACRE is a statutory body on religious education.
Okay.
So each local authority will have a SACRE, and that's made up of councillors of all the different faiths across the county. So you'll have Christians, Jews, Muslims, Sikhs, Hindus, depending on the make of the faith, and they sort of look at the religious education syllabus across the education system, primary and secondary. I know in Cumbria we organise a SACRE conference every year where all the RE teachers come together to look at and get new tools and skills that they can use to, again, what they can go in schools. We sort of try and push things like Srebrenica Memorial Day, Holocaust Memorial Day, etc. I try to do visits to schools or visits to mosques for schools. So we try to sort of get, from my perspective, Islam onto that curriculum and onto the school's agenda in a positive way.
Super, mashallah, that's a very good way of getting prominence and recognition, for Islam. So we're here today. We're on Saturday, the 9th of November. We're in Whitehaven. This is the first time that we've ever done this Discover Islam exhibition. So what are your thoughts about this exhibition and how it's been laid out?
I think it's really important in terms of just raising awareness of Islam in the community.
Yeah.
Because Cumbria and Whitehaven, or if you look at Cumbria as a whole, it's a very large county, predominantly white, very small minority communities. So actually having an exhibition that talks about what Islam is, it's starting process of an education process. Is sort of, I'm doing work with schools, but it's the wider community. How do you get the wider community to understand who Muslims are, what Muslims are, what they believe in, etc. And what this does is raise that awareness and understanding. So hopefully work towards and support some of the work we're doing and others are doing to create a more cohesive community across Cumbria and in Whitehaven as well.
Alhamdulillah. Have you ever had anything of a similar nature here in Whitehaven or in Cumbria for that matter?
We've had small exhibitions.
Right.
So for example, I remember about 7-8 years ago on Islamic awareness when we had a small exhibition that we put up and invited people in on an open day.
Yeah.
We've done lots of visits for professionals and again open days for communities. And for the last 3 or 4 years, the mosques, particularly in Carlisle and other areas, have been doing things that brings people in or going out and giving gifts. Last 3 or 4 years, we've done iftars, open iftars to bring the community in. So again, that's brought community in. The imams come, talked about Islam, we've shared an iftar together, a meal together. So again, it's those little things that we've had the last couple of years. We've had these celebrations, again, bringing people in. And again, one of the things in the last 2 years, 3 years has been we've had Syrian refugees come. So again, we've tried to bring communities together to try and integrate them and make them feel part of the community, but also the community understand where these people have come from, these refugees have come from in terms of what happened to them in Syria. So we're always doing little things that allows people to understand not only what different communities are, but what's actually going on in the community, what sort of festivals are going on, so whether it's Eid al-Adha, Eid al-Fitr, Ramadan. So just continue raising the awareness.
Alhamdulillah. I think that's a very good way of slowly letting the indigenous population know about Islam and what Islam stands for. Finally, do you think, this is the final question that we can end, do you think events like these will be beneficial. Obviously, I know they will be beneficial. But what are your thoughts? What do you think that we should do these kinds of events more often, and maybe in other different rural areas as well? Do you think that would help?
I think yes, because I've worked in rural areas for many, many years.
Yeah.
So when I started work, I used to work in Devon, Cornwall, Somerset, which is a very rural area. And again, we've got very small communities.
Yeah.
I remember when I first moved to Exeter, so there was a mosque there, very small community. But if you went out in other parts of Devon, it was very sort of monocultural. And it's about how you raise understanding and awareness. And I think these sort of things help. And also for us, it's about sort of how do you introduce them to the local mosque? Because they see mosque on TV, they go to London or Preston or Blackburn, and they'll see a nice fancy mosque with dome and minaret. So they go there, but then in Cumbria you don't see that. In Penrith it's a small sort of 5x5 box which accommodates 30 people. So I think it's a mixture of both. It's about showing them this, but also actually taking them to mosque, because I've sort of encouraged them to understand the local Muslim community. I said, it's fine going to Preston, please go to Preston, but also understand the local community and how they actually live in the local area, because the local community is where you will see them, their kids will be in your school, you will go to their restaurant or takeaway for your food. So actually understand how the local community is there, so integrate with that. So I think it's very important to do both, bring something in, but also get them to the local. So we've sort of done sometimes taken to a local restaurant, so at least the restaurant owners can talk to them, or taken the restaurant owners out and brought them out into some of the visits or schools, so they can understand what their lifestyle is like. Because it's about sort of the local community rather than going outside, and particularly in rural areas it's really important, because normally racism, Islamophobia tends to be high as well. And it starts breaking down some of those barriers, getting people to talk and having the dialogue, and this is what's happening. You look around, people are talking with each other, and it's how do we get people to talk, how do we then get local people to talk, because locally they'll say, well actually I know the experiences I have as a Muslim in Cumbria. So it's about that sort of understanding and sharing that experiences so people understand, and it's that human face to Muslims that we can give to people.
Super. I think that encapsulates everything that we're trying to do, and alhamdulillah, you've said it very eloquently, and I appreciate that.
No, thank you very much. No, thank you very much for coming.
Hi, Ellie. My name's Mohammed, and we're here in Whitehaven, Saturday the 9th, obviously, and we just wanted to sort of come and do a display about the Islamic exhibition, and just to make people aware about Islam and just the basic tenets of Islam and what Islam stands for. So I just wanted to ask you, because I saw you coming in this morning, and I think, what time did you actually come in?
I come in about 11:15.
11:15,
yeah.
And what time is it now?
Is it about 2:20?
Wow, so you stayed quite a long time.
Yes, I had a really good time.
Right, so can I begin firstly with asking you, what did you think of the event?
I thought it was lovely. I saw families, I saw culture, I saw all the different things going on. I got invited to go and read the Quran. I'd never done that before in my life. Beautiful experience. Okay. Got to listen to prayers. That was lovely. And I got to learn about all the cultures and how people live their life and how people dress and why they dress that way. Just things from a small town. I've never learnt about things like this before. And with people coming to do stuff like this, I just think it's amazing, because it's being here a couple of hours, I've learnt so much, and I don't think I could have learnt this without being influenced by people who come and share this experience with people. Yeah.
Just to find out, how did you actually find out about this event?
Oh, there was a nice man on the street with little cards. Yeah. So me and my boyfriend were walking down the street, and he had to go to work. He'd like to come with me, but sadly he had to pop off. So I decided to come on my own, and I've had a really good time. I've had a chat with the girls. Some of the girls are my age or around my age, and we've had a good talk about age, culture, where we live, where we're from. So I've had a really good time.
Very good. Just you live in Whitehaven,
I do,
presumably.
yeah.
Right. Is there a Muslim community here, and have you ever sort of interacted with them, or
I've
you
known
ever met them?
There's a couple of Muslim families. I wouldn't say there's very many. I know of two, and no, there's not very many at all. So
Right,
this
so
is like a good experience to be able to talk to people, learn about the religion, and like I say, why they do and dress in the ways that they do. People look at people dressed up, and there's some individuals I find it intimidating, whereas I'm quite curious. I like to ask questions, so I liked finding out why they did this and why this was spiritual to them, dressing in the way that they do, and why they pray the way that they do. Praying, is it 5 times a day?
That's correct.
I had never known that before. That is, I learned how to fit it into your daily life, especially if you work, how to fit it in. It's been absolutely brilliant.
So somebody actually explained to you?
Oh yeah. I've been talking to a lot of the ladies about how in the day-to-day situations how religion affects their life daily. They get up in the morning, the way that they dress, they pray 5 times a day, and that just keeps them. I think it's quite a family-orientated religion. Everything's all about being together, togetherness, family. I just think it's beautiful that way.
Yeah. So do you think events like these are, well, firstly, has this event, let's say, asking you personally, has that changed your outlook?
Oh,
about
definitely.
What Muslims are like?
Yeah.
And is that for the better?
Oh, definitely for the better. I've never looked at anyone's religion or judged anyone else's religion, but I just like coming here and learning, because I'm 22 now and I've learned more in 2 hours than I have in the 22 years of being alive about the Muslim community.
And yet, you know that Muslims probably are 1 in every 5 people that you come across in the world are Muslims. So it's amazing how a lot of people may be aware of, let's say as an example, China has one of the biggest populations, or India has the other one of the biggest populations, 1.4 billion or something like that. But we know quite a bit about China, we know quite a bit about India as an example. But it's amazing that, you know, knowing that 1 in every 5 people is a Muslim, and yet, you know, we don't really know that much about Muslims. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think more people need to be educated, because, like I said, it's such a beautiful religion, and people show it on the bodies. I think you know if a man or woman is a Muslim just with the way that they dress themselves, and I just think it's a beautiful religion. We need to learn more. Like I say, in Whitehaven, I know of 2 families, and I've lived here all of my life. I don't think it's that common, but it's definitely changed my opinion on. I didn't realise that such similarities from growing up a Catholic to the Muslim religion. There's a lot of similarities which I didn't notice. I knew there were similarities between Judaism and Christianity, but I didn't make the link between being a Muslim and being a Christian. And there's actually quite a lot of links that are together which I didn't know before.
So you know, obviously, if it's coming from the same source, there will be similarities, obviously. So, just to sum it up in the final sort of summary of this event, what would you say highlighted for you, or what would you say was the highlight of your day here today?
How friendly everyone was. Everyone was open to talking about the religion, why religious ceremonies happen, where they happen, and even little children were coming up to me and talking about their religion, just so proud. I feel like there's places where people feel uncomfortable to be able to be proud of their religion and how they feel about themselves, but there's a room full of people here today who are showing who they are and how they dress and how the family acts, and it's something to be proud of, and I feel like they're showing it off today in a very proud
positive
manner. In a positive manner.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no
Ellie.
problem.
I appreciate that, you know, just taking the time and talking to us.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely
I
fine.
appreciate it. Thanks very much again.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
you have any questions?
No.
That I can expand on or meaning in answering?
No.
So basically, I'll go over it very briefly. So we start off with the basics of Islam.
Yeah.
So what we have to believe in to be a Muslim.
Yeah.
So it's just 5 pillars.
Yeah.
So the first pillar, there is no God but Allah. Yeah. So there's only one God, and in Arabic we call him Allah. Now it's the same God that the Christians believe in, the same God that the Jews believe in, but in Arabic it's Allah. And we believe it's only one God. He's got no partner, no son, no daughter. He's unique. He's just, and he's independent, and no one's like him. He doesn't give birth to anyone. He wasn't given birth to. He's just been there forever. Yeah. And then
an entity.
Yeah. And then Prophet Muhammad is the last messenger. So we believe in all of them, from Adam to Moses to Jesus to Joseph to Jacob to Job.
That was quite enlightening.
We have
to read about. I always thought there was sort of distinct.
No. We have to.
Religion.
If we don't believe in any, or if we don't believe in one of them, like say for example we don't believe, then we cannot be a Muslim. Part of being a Muslim, you have to believe in every single prophet, and we have to believe that they were the best of creation. They were the best of people to walk the face of this earth, chosen servants of God of that time, and even now as well. Obviously they're in their graves, but we still believe that they were the greatest, and no one can surpass them in greatness because they were chosen by God. But we believe Prophet Muhammad was the last messenger. So this is the fundamental. Once you believe this, then that's it. Then you're a Muslim. That's what. And then that's the first. And then the other 4 pillars, we pray 5 times a day. That's second. Throughout the day, then we fast for a whole month. Every year, it's known as the month of Ramadan.
And that's sort of based on a moon cycle or something?
Yeah. And that is obviously the main kind of wisdom behind that is to appreciate the food God gives us, to appreciate that there's people around the world that don't get the same food, don't eat on a daily basis. So you need to be thankful to God, and it makes you think about them and remember God. The 4th pillar is charity. We have to give 2.5% of our wealth to the poor and needy every year, once a year. And this is obviously again because God's blessed you with wealth, then you should give. And it's not everyone. If you like poor or you're not got that much wealth, then you don't have to give. It's only when you've got a certain threshold. And the 5th pillar is Hajj. So you know this place here, it's in Mecca. It's a city in Arabia, Mecca. And basically, can you see that black cube kind of?
What is the black cube?
So this is the house of God. Now we don't believe.
But it doesn't have anything. It's not a grave or a mausoleum or anything.
No. So we can't. We don't worship in Islam. We can't worship idols. We can't worship people. We only worship God. We can't even exaggerate in the praise of the prophets or even Prophet Muhammad to the extent where we start giving him the rank of God. Now this is the house of God, and it was built by, surprisingly, from Prophet Adam to other prophets, Abraham, etc. It's been passed down this same spot. Now,
did Muhammad?
Muhammad was here. He was born in Mecca. This is city. He was born in Mecca. Yeah.
And then he went to Medina.
Then he went to Medina. There. This is now this mosque. Can you see that green dome?
Yeah,
that's where he's buried. Now, obviously, there's a mosque within it and around it. Now, this is the pilgrimage where once in a lifetime, if you've got enough money, you can sit down if you want.
No, I'm fine.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Once in a lifetime, if you've got enough money to go and come back, and you're stable, etc., then you go a certain time of the year. It's known as the Hajj month. Then you go there and you do pilgrimage. So you go around, you circumambulate, you go around, and you chant God's name, etc., etc. There's different prescribed things to do, and then we go to around this city. There's a place. There's different places where we have to worship God, and it's not too far from here. Now we don't worship this like I was saying. This is it.
But
this is just replica.
That's the sort of central point.
It's so when you, because we believe we can't see God in this world, even Christians and everyone believe. But as a human, when we love someone and we can't see him, then it's hard for us to have that emotional attachment. So God has given us
have
this
a central point.
So yeah, so you feel, so when you pray,
center of the Muslim world, if you like, 'cause
so when we were praying here, we pray facing that direction.
How are you, Michael?
I'm very well, thanks, Mohammed.
My name's Mohammed, as you know. We're here, obviously, in Whitehaven, the 9th of November, on a Saturday. Most people will be probably out shopping, but you've decided to come here and have a look. And we've put up this exhibition of Discover Islam. And you've been here quite a while, and I just wanted your thoughts on what you think about this event. What are your thoughts?
Right, thoughts. The first thing that struck me was the variety of different people here. From different parts of, mainly from Lancashire, from Bingley, from Preston, from Bradford, and then one or two locals. And I think it's good that people make the effort really to share belief. I've also been doing a bit of work locally with some refugees from Syria, and they are Muslim. And I thought it's an ideal opportunity. You made the effort. It's a marvellous exhibition.
Yeah.
There's so much information here.
Maybe too much, would you say?
I don't think so. Not too much. It's at the right. You've got electronic. You've got TV. You've got books. You've got artifacts. You've got cultural references. Religious references, way of life references, things like this, which is amazing, and it just shows what's going on in the world, and I like that, the variety and diversity of what's happening in society, not just in the world. But I was saying to Ikran earlier, I cycled from Haworth over Ilkley Moor the other week, and I went through Keighley. And the mosque there, looking down on Keighley, it's the golden dome. What did you call it? Minaret. That's it. Yeah. It struck me, and that's the kind of thing. It's great. It's got diversity, and we've got so many similarities, and it's about time that this was. Communicating it in this way is a great thing to do, Mohammed. Making the effort to come up for the day and put something like this on. Having it here for a week would be good, and then you could engage with schools, because bringing young people around, young people are open to this kind of thing. School teachers locally would love an event like this, because you've got so much interactive material. You've got so many staff here. You could have. I worked in a college for 25 years. We used to go to Liverpool and we'd have a look round. The health and social care students, so we'd go to the hospital and such. But one place we did visit was a mosque in Liverpool, and it was great time for question and answer. And these were adults. But to bring, if I could imagine as a teacher bringing a class in here, either religious education or ethics or history or just cultural geography class, crosses so many disciplines, they'd find it fascinating because it's such a good exhibition.
So would you say it's, well, firstly, informative, and there's various things like you mentioned. Do you think, I mean, just asking from your point of view, I don't know whether you had any misconceptions about Islam, but do you think whether there were misconceptions or conceptions about good conceptions?
There are
Has that, do you think, changed your...
What, this exhibition today? Well, I think I knew that. You know, I've got friends in Bolton and Manchester. You know, and St Anne's Church in Manchester. There was, after the bombings, there was a guy put on a little a little publicity. You know, and he had a hood over his head, and I am a Muslim. And he just stood in the square.
Oh yeah, it was. I think I've
seen
a video of that.
Right, and then people were like, after 5 or 10 minutes, people started coming and doing exactly that, and started saying, "Look, you know, you're a human being."
Yeah.
you're primarily a human being. You're not Muslim, you're not Christian, you're not Jewish. You're a human being. Because underneath all this, we're all very similar, and that's it. And that issue with the bombings is something that isn't common to people like you and me, and it's not common to the mass, to 99.9% of the population, and that's what we should be looking after, and that's what we should be sharing. And so I came today really just to get a little bit more information and a bit more in depth. But one of the great things, Ahmed, as well, is just this kind of thing, talking to each other. Because you can pick a book up, you can read that, but to actually interact with people, and you've got young people here. And you've got right up to range,
59.
And man, so that's where that's the real value of it. That's the value of it, and that's the most valuable thing, isn't it? A personal interaction.
And I was just thinking, you said you're a Christian, so obviously we've got common roots, really, going back to Adam, Moses, Noah, Ishmael, Isaac, Jacob, and all of those. And these prophets are actually mentioned in the Quran as well.
Yes.
Did you know?
Yes.
You probably knew
Yes.
that anyway.
Yeah, I've read
so
parts.
we have common roots, really. So I think.
Right.
Would you say that we maybe need more of these kinds of events to change people's perceptions?
I mean, just what I was just saying earlier, Mohammed. This is here for what, a day?
It's only here for a day, unfortunately.
Now, one of the most powerful ways of communicating, advertising, is word of mouth.
Yeah.
And having something like this here, I leave. I'm going out tonight with friends.
Yeah.
We're going out for a meal, and I'll be telling people where I've been.
Yeah.
And if it was,
could you just move it just slightly so completely?
Yes, and if it was here for a bit longer, if it was here for a bit longer, they'd have the opportunity to come, wouldn't they?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Because so being here if it was here for a week, and you've got schools involved. I used to have what we it's about 20 years ago now, and I went to an history event, taught history in Newcastle, and there was a Holocaust survivor there talking about their experience of the Holocaust as a child, and it was a Holocaust education trust. And what I did ultimately was invite this person to the college to talk to the students. And subsequent years, what we did, because it's in the curriculum, we, at the college, Lates College, West Cumbria, we invited the schools of the area.
Right.
And we sent invitations to the history teachers, geography teachers, and our RE teachers to come to the college to listen to a Holocaust survivor. And then we ran workshops with the students from the schools on bullying and harassment, and we divide them into groups, and we did work as teachers with our own students. So the teachers came. We were, after 4 or 5 years, we were getting through into the college on that day between 600 and 700 students from schools in this area for that event. And
I think that's is right, though. I think what Max mentioned is that we should. One of the things that he mentioned is that we're only here for a day. Maybe in future, if we have a look at maybe having something like this over a period of a few days, maybe like you know, like from Friday, Saturday, Sunday or something like that, weekend, so we've got more time, more people could access it, and also involve the schools and colleges maybe. This is Michael's suggestion, which I think is, you know, I think going forward we could probably do that.
More advertising as well.
Yeah, and I think because we've
it's smart advertising.
Yeah.
And the important thing is with schools, you know, it's contacting the right person, and then the right teacher by letter, and then the topic that you're inviting them to is on the curriculum, because that teacher is then to go to their line manager, head of department, principal, head teacher, to get permission to take those children out of school and pay for a coach to take them, to bring them. So you need parking, a coach. We have big car park. We get 10, 12 coaches coming. That for each school, that's going to cost £300 for, depending how far the coach comes. And you've got the teacher out with staff. So as long as it's in the curriculum, they've got an argument then, or a justification with their line manager to be able to take those children out of school, because it's a subject in the curriculum.
They are going to mosque, am I right?
Sometimes.
They are visiting mosque.
Yeah, they'll visit mosques.
In Pakistan, I have seen so many students coming to mosque.
We used to visit a mosque in Liverpool.
I'm from Liverpool.
Yeah, we used to visit a mosque in Liverpool. We'd go down for 2 days.
From here?
Yeah.
Why so far?
We'd go for 2 days to Liverpool because we'd go to the hospital. They were health and social care students. So we'd visit a number of things. We'd go to the cathedrals, exactly, yeah. And then the mosque was part of the programme, of the package.
Have you been to William Mosque?
Sorry?
William Mosque.
No, I haven't.
Before we carry on, I mean, this could get. I just wanted a few words, and I'm just going to end it, and then you can carry on. Thank you very much, Michael, for all the information that you've given us. We'll certainly take the feedback back and try and improve it and try and involve schools and colleges. Don't know if we'll be back here this way, but I think the next event that we're looking at probably could be Penrith and Carlisle. So I'll certainly give that feedback.
I think the word of mouth is really important. Yeah. And if you're here for a few days, word gets round and people come.
So appreciate your time.
That's all right.
Thank you very much,
enjoyed
Michael.
It. Yeah, fascinating.
All right.
Thank you, Mohammed. Yeah.
You may continue now. Sorry. Carry on.
So I'm Stuart Dunnett. I'm the project director of the Whitehaven Harbour Youth Project that we're in here today.
Okay, and how did you find the exhibition and the event in general?
It was very informative, and I was amazed at the amount of things that you brought into the area and the space that you've used, and just the sheer amount of it, the sheer diversity of the things that you brought here today.
And what was the main highlight for you in this exhibition and this event? What kind of...
I think just for me to understand a bit more about Islam. It's not something that I know a lot about, and there's not that many people in this local area who follow that faith probably. So it was just very good to have some more people coming to the area to explain what their faith is, what that means to them.
Do you think holding such events in the future, maybe on a regular basis, will be beneficial for communities?
Yes, definitely. I think it breaks down the sort of some of the myths and some of the barriers and some of the preconceived ideas we all have about different things, and by explaining it and allowing people to see and communicate together, it definitely helps break down those barriers.
Have you ever attended any other event of this like before?
Not in the same, not really, no. Similar, I suppose, to learn more about something, but maybe not the same as this, no.
Thank you, Stuart. It was a pleasure having you here. Thanks for taking time out answering questions.